Live and in color from the NBC News radio broadcasting studios of KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM, located in beautiful Southern California, and in parallel from the Turfs Up radio studio in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thanks for tuning in to the Water Zone show this evening. Pleasant afternoon, and good evening, and good morning, depending where everybody is in this great world. I hope everybody's having a good time. I'm your host, Rob Starr, along with our, I'll call her a special guest, but she's and a co-host. Got new things going on every day, but I got to tell you, just from the couple of weeks that my co-host has been on the show,
unknown participant is now joining.
See, people are calling in already. She has.
Hey, it's Donna.
You're live on the air. You're live on the air, but you can mute it. But anyway, I was talking about Tara. Her energy and enthusiasm makes every show really enjoyable. She has a fantastic ability to connect with our listeners, which I appreciate. Her insights and perspectives always add depth to our discussions, and I admire her professionalism and dedication to the show. And she does have a sense of humor. It brings a lighthearted touch to the segment. But importantly, she has a remarkable talent for making complex topics easy to understand. And so I welcome her again this is your fourth show, so I appreciate that. And I can say all the same things and more for Chris Austin, who's an awesome lady that I've known for a couple of years and does a great job with the Maven's Notebook. So, Tara, welcome to the show as our permanent co-host, and the same to Ms. Chris Austin, who is our permanent Maven's person. And she's always got a heart of what she does, and myself and Chris Davey always likes to say, you want good news and accurate news, go to Chris Austin. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
I got all ladies on the show today, and I'm very happy about that, and they're all brilliant. So I won't ask how everybody's doing because we're going to talk about some great things. Ms. Austin, there's a lot of things happening about water in California, and I know there's no deal on the Colorado River. Maybe you can touch base with that, and then we'll get into the weather.
Oh, yes, this is surprise. You know, the government put down a deadline. It was Veterans Day, and the Colorado states, the seven basin states, needed to come together and come up with a plan of how they're going to significantly reduce their use of water on the Colorado River because the river just doesn't have the same amount of flow, anywhere near the same amount of flow as it used to. And the two large reservoirs on the river, which would be Lake Powell and Lake Mead, are really dwindling. And the operating rules for those reservoirs run out in October of 2026, so they need to come up with a plan. They've been needing to come up with a plan for like the last 2 years because the Bureau of Reclamation realized this and said, look, you guys all have to come together and figure out what to do. And so they were able to figure out some short-term fixes, but the longer-term fixes are much harder. And, you know, this is the one thing that they noted at the time is those short-term fixes came with money, with funding for projects. But they paid farmers, a lot of farmers, not to farm. And they did other things with these projects. But now we're kind of getting into the long haul, and they're just not going to be able to pay farmers for water that isn't there. And so the federal government has been laying down deadline after deadline, and the latest one was November 11th, and now apparently it's moved back to February because the basin states are saying that, well, they're working on things, they're getting things moving. Of course, they've been saying this for 2 years, and I don't know, this is the third deadline that we've come up against, and then we just don't get there. I think that it is going to take the federal government stepping in because I think that it's just too hard for these states to take a big hit. And there's a lot of disputes between the upper basin states and the lower basin states. The upper basin would be like Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, New Mexico, and the lower basin states, which is California, Nevada, and Arizona. And the upper basin states are saying that they don't want to reduce their use because they have never fully developed the use of that water supply, so they haven't been using what they've been entitled to for, ever since they were given it at the 1922 compact. So they don't want to cut back their use, and the lower basin, especially Arizona, is just saying no. They have to cut back. And I think that all the lower basin wants to see the upper basin pitch in some meaningful way, and that's with also taking some water cuts. So we'll see what happens next. At some point, someone's going to have to make a decision, and they have to figure out what they're going to do, and then they have to run that through a bunch of analysis to make sure that, it's going to work. So February is, I can't imagine that they could go any further past February and get that work done by October. And what happens if they get to October and they don't have a plan, then the management of the river reverts back to rules that were written back in the 1970s, I believe, when there was a lot more water, and it would be impossible to run under those conditions without draining the reservoirs completely and making a real mess of things. So we'll see what happens. I'm not surprised. I'm not sure anybody is surprised, but at some point, the rubber's going to have to hit the road. Someone's going to have to make the decision.
I guess go ahead, Tara. Sorry.
I was just going to say it's so difficult to identify what a real priority is because everyone's priorities are still legitimate. So the idea that there's going to be enough water for all of the uses that we have for it probably isn't realistic, but at the same time, I mean, I can't imagine being at the center of it and then just going, well, since we're not going to get there, we might as well give in. It's not something you can just give in. So I wonder what's going to happen.
It's really tough, and at each group, really has, we need the food. I mean, it would be. I can't imagine what a winter would be like if we didn't have the produce coming out of the Imperial Valley. I mean, that's like the winter salad bowl. The water that we use for agriculture along the Colorado River, that agriculture is important. It's important to the local economies. It's important to the nation. So, and there's also tribal water rights. When they pushed the, tribes out to the west and put them on these reservations, they were, the government agreed to provide them with water. And a lot of that water they've never been able to take because while the government gave them the right to the water, they didn't give them the infrastructure to take the water. So, so a lot of those water rights have gone unused, and they've recently become quantified as the tribes have been making their way through the courts and establishing some water rights. Now, what does that mean for the tribes? It doesn't necessarily mean that the tribes are going to start taking water, But what it does likely mean is the tribes are going to start leasing the water back to other people on the river, which I believe legislation was passed to make it so they could do that. But it's all very, very sticky, and especially for Arizona, I think. Arizona really lies in the crosshairs, although, California is there too. And surprisingly, it's not really metropolitan in the crosshairs as much as it would be the Imperial Valley because they have the oldest established water rights on the Colorado River. And metropolitan is there, but their water rights are junior to the Imperial Valley, but senior to Arizona. But they're still sort of sandwiched in there. And they're there and they're being collaborative. And, the best thing about metropolitan is they come with money, with funding to do stuff. Not everybody does that. But Arizona is really, I think, in the crosshairs. And Governor Hobbs is asking the feds to make sure that the upper basin takes some water cuts, So we'll see what happens.
Do you think that the federal government will do what I'll call the eminent domain action on the river with the rights?
Well, I don't think it would be eminent domain. It's hard kind of working around the water law stuff because a lot of this stuff is set up in the Colorado River Compact. And if you stick straight to senior water rights, well, then everybody has to let, 1/5 of the river flow down so that it goes into the Imperial Valley, and then everybody else can have what's left over after that, and that's not going to work.
No.
So I don't know if it's eminent domain. They might call it a taking. They certainly try those things. But I don't know. Litigation is probably certain here, but litigation, there's not much time to litigate. There's really not much water left in these reservoirs, and if it's another dry year on the Colorado River basin, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. Do you think the group that's trying to put this all together with a plan has a strong enough leader to make the push on this? Or do you think it's just going to expire again?
Well, I think the basin states themselves, the people that are negotiating that, are very aware of the urgency, and they're very motivated. I do think if it's my understanding, the person that is the head, the acting head of reclamation right now, because they haven't appointed anybody, is not necessarily well-versed in Colorado River matters. And the Colorado River is, there's so many things that govern operations on the Colorado River. It's definitely a meaty subject. I think perhaps if there was someone at the head of reclamation that understood the Colorado River and had the ability to kind of work people into agreement, that would probably be very helpful at this time, but that doesn't seem to be what they have in place, which then kind of leaves these 7 basin states to bicker about it themselves and try to come to something.
I don't think this person I'm going to mention would ever go back, but Brenda Berman did a great job leading that. Now she's in Arizona doing the projects there. But she was strong. She understood. She was an attorney. She knows all of that.
Well, yes. I guess she's at the Salt River Project now,
correct.
I think.
And, but Central Arizona Project. Sorry, where she is at now. But maybe they need to reference her or get her opinions. I just can't see it going on and on. Like you said, it's a serious problem.
Well, they proposed Ted Cook who was a guy that was known to people on the river and came from Arizona, and that got harpooned because they didn't want someone from Arizona at the head of reclamation. They felt it wouldn't be good for the negotiations, so they kicked them out. Yeah. But I'm not so sure that's true, because I think what's needed here is expertise. I think, if he were to go in there and try to start swaying things, people would be onto that pretty fast. But expertise is important, I think.
What do you think, Tara?
I think we need to find just a way to move forward. I don't even know if it needs to be the perfect path forward, because I don't know that there even is one. There just needs to be a way forward. And maybe there's something where we try, like we set a shorter deadline that's like 5 years, where we do an analysis and we figure out where the water's being used. Like, there just feels like it's the push off. So even if there's something we could do to go, okay, this year we're going to do this, next year we're going to come back and do this again, for a few years until we can figure out what is kind of the Goldilocks situation, because that's what we're really looking for. We're looking for not too much and not too little.
But that's kind of what they did with the interim guidelines that they did, because the guidelines that they're doing now expire in 2026, and I think they were actually, like 2000. I think they came after the QSA and all that, so they were kind of written in that era. And then the interim drought guidelines were established, where they came together and they said, well, we can't do that big negotiation, so we're going to do this short-term stuff here, and that will free us up so we can do the negotiation. Oh, I can remember their sunny little dispositions at this time. Oh, will make it easier for us to negotiate. And then, here we are 2 years later. And the problem is my understanding that there isn't the water, like if they satisfy everybody's take on the Colorado River as it stands now, then they drain the reservoirs. And once the other problem is it's hydropower, trying to keep enough water behind these dams so they can generate electricity. That's very big at Hoover Dam. That's big for Arizona. That's big for Metropolitan Water District. That's how they power their Colorado River aqueduct. So, a lot of concern about hydropower. So,
You in the reports you put out this morning, I was looking at a bad situation and a worser one about this atmospheric river that's going to hit and create a lot of flooding, and then some experts believe that the atmospheric rivers are going to move further north, and we're going to lose that. California's going to lose out on that. What do you say about that?
Well, I think we've been seeing that pattern of the atmospheric rivers moving north. We've seen that pattern for, I don't know, the last 3, 4, 5 years. Like, they used to be kind of a phenomena for California. It did not really affect Oregon and Washington much, but about 3 years ago, they just got hammered, and it was overwhelming to their infrastructure systems because they hadn't been really sized to deal with that kind of moisture coming in. But it seems to be the direction that things are going. It's only just a handful of storms per year that make up California's water supply. So, how many of those are atmospheric rivers, and how many of those that show up or don't show up, that has a profound impact on our water supply. Sometimes, we don't get any. I can't remember. In one of the drought years, we just got very minor rain all year long, and not much snowpack and a really tough year. So, it's a problem. And now they have this nice atmospheric river coming in, though, now, and hopefully it's going to bring us some snow. We'll see. This is a pretty warm one. They're talking about heavy rain, but and flash flooding, but at any rate, it will take down the wildfire risk. So.
Well, and won't it yield way more water in the reservoirs overall? And it's one of the most important reasons why we can kind of, I hear a lot, and I'm not going to say from who, but I hear a lot that California doesn't always have a water problem. It's got a storage problem. We get a ton of rain, but we don't have the means necessary to capture that effectively. And I would love to hear your thoughts on how projects like sites and potentially other reservoirs being built could mitigate this idea, especially as the atmospheric rivers travel north. How could we capture that lightning in a bottle?
Well, they talk about the storms that come in that are beneath what they call the rim dams, and Shasta and Oroville are kind of high up, and they're kind of right there as you come down the mountain, but there's still an awful lot of water that falls on the valley floors, and that's kind of where Sites comes in, Sites Reservoir. And this is, the one thing that the scientists have been telling us is that our storms are going to get warmer. They're going to come more as rain, less as snow, and they're going to come in higher intensity. And so we have to be ready to catch those. And when they're pouring rain on the valley floor, that's water that is unmanaged. So Sites is the Sites Reservoir project is going to take water in the Sacramento River and pump it up to the reservoir to hold it for use in drier years. It's the kind of project that the climate scientists say we need to build, and we'll see. I think the Sites project has a pretty good chance of coming to fruition. It seems to be getting through all of its permitting processes. It has a long list of people participating in it and willing to pay, and a waiting list if any of those people that are in now decide they don't want to be in. So, and it's hard for me to find anything, bad to say about it. The people that live in this area have no problem with it becoming a reservoir, and there's not many people that live there. So you've got, it's getting through the permit process. It's got people that want to pay for it and take the water, and it's got folks that don't mind moving out of the valley. Now the environmentalists say that, they don't think it's going to be able to collect water, and they see it like it's a big evaporation pond. And they tend to take, I think, they don't like to see any water leaving the rivers, even if it's in these high flow times, because they know the high flow times are important to the ecosystem as well, which is very true. However, we're talking, a 1.5 million acre feet reservoir that would take water at a time when, I don't know, the Sacramento River is discharging, 30 million acre feet? It's when the Sacramento River is really running and when it's really raining, it's quite heavy, it's quite large. And it seems to me that it wouldn't be that much of a percentage of it, but that's what they say. So.
We'll put that in the books and keep it there. Yeah. Well, Chris, it's great to have you come on every single week. We do appreciate it. It's time for our commercial break and let our sponsors have a little publicity going on, and we got to do that. But in mentioning that, for our listeners, please go to mavensnotebook.com. That's where Chris does stuff almost 24 hours a day, probably 23 and a half hours a day. And every morning I get my information about what's going on in the water business from her. And it's a great blog to read. And you can get it. Doesn't cost you anything. Go to mavensnotebook.com, become a subscriber. And if you feel cheerful and happy, and you want to make a little gift to her, she'll be glad to accept that as sponsoring that. And it's all tax deductible. And that'll be a good thing to keep her going on, because she busts for everything, making these news reports every day, and it's incredible how much she covers. So we do appreciate that, Chris, and I hope you have a good week. And you're probably going to get rain, like you said earlier, but try to stay dry.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, we're going to take a little commercial break and be back with our special guests, so stick around for the second half of the Water Zone.
KCAA.
Are you presently part of the irrigation industry as a worker or business owner? Do you want to learn how you and your staff can boost your knowledge and productivity? Then you should check out Irrigator Technical Training School. Irrigator Tech is the leading source of quality instruction serving all facets of the irrigation industry. Their courses provide a basic, easy-to-understand approach that raises the skill level, competency, and professionalism of landscape and irrigation personnel through practical education and services. Irrigator Tech combines classroom and real-life hands-on training, leading to a well-recognized certification that both customers and employers demand. Irrigator Tech's specialized courses can help you quickly become a certified irrigation auditor or a certified installer, repair, maintenance, or backflow technician. Courses also include certificates in smart water application or becoming a certified tree worker. Most importantly, all certifications are state recognized, and Irrigator Tech offers annual renewal classes to help keep your certification up to date. So whether you work in California, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, or Arizona, there's an Irrigator Tech class near you. For more information on how to jumpstart your career, call Irrigator Tech toll-free 866-614-1755 or visit them on the web at irrigatortech.com. That's toll-free 866-614-1755 and on the web at irrigatortech.com.
Hi, I'm Sean, a coach on the SiteOne training team, here to talk about SiteOne's ProTrade TR1 transformer, a durable, feature-rich solution for your landscape lighting needs. With its stainless steel case, lockable door, and multiple voltage options, this transformer combines reliability with flexibility. The drop-down transformer base provides lots of access. The TR1's two common taps make wiring multiple lighting runs straightforward, simplifying the process and saving time, which include options for 12 volt, 13 volt, 14 volt, and 15 volt, allowing you to fine-tune the voltage to overcome voltage drop and provide optimal performance. One of the key benefits of the TR1 is its overload protection with auto thermal shutoff. If the transformer gets too hot or is overloaded, it automatically shuts down to prevent damage, helping ensure your investment lasts for the long haul. The TR1 transformer is available in 150, 300, and 600 watt models. For more information or to pick up your ProTrade TR1 transformer today, come on in to your local SiteOne store or see siteone.com.
So welcome back to the second half of the Water Zone. Appreciate everybody tuning in and listening. I'm Rob Starr along with Tara Maloney. Sorry, my nose is stuffed. Getting a cold. Getting a cold. Sunny Arizona, I'm getting a cold with a nice temperature, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, we have a special guest on, and I met this person a couple of years back at the Water Smart Innovations show in Las Vegas. And she was only on, we did a little segment with her for about 7 minutes, and I got to meet her again at Mesa, Arizona, where she works, and I'll get you into that in a second. And she was involved in the city getting an award from the National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation. So could talk about that. But anyway, I'd like to introduce this nice person. I call her a wild person. That means woman of water. So I don't get hit with a lawsuit. what else that could be. Anyway, her name is Donna DeFrancesco, and she is the Conservation Coordinator with the City of Mesa Environmental and Sustainability Department, where she educates Mesa residents and businesses about xeriscape, water conservation, living green, and sustainability. Her fingerprints are all over Arizona's water education resources, better there than at the police department, so I appreciate that. She heads up the Water Use It Wisely campaign and co-authored Landscape Watering by the Numbers, helps shape landscape plans for the Arizona Desert and Xeriscape, Landscaping with Style in the Arizona Desert, and serves as the Landscape Technical Advisory Committee for the Arizona Department of Water Resources Low Water Use Plant List. She's got a very good resume, and I can go on for this, but then we won't have a conversation with her, so I'm going to get right to it. Donna, welcome to the Water Zone.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Rob. I appreciate it, and Tara.
Yep. And what we want to talk about is several things, and we want you to enlighten us more about the City of Mesa and what you do. And you were involved with this Wyland's National Mayor's Challenge, which you guys won, and an award for that. Can you tell us how your organization helped participate with the mayor to get this going?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. This was something that, the National Mayor's Challenge was started by Wyland back in 2013, and we did not participate that very first year, but in 2014 we participated, and we had a great mayor on board who was just very excited to and definitely very interested in water conservation, and so there was kind of a no-brainer that he was willing to sign on and support it. That always is such a huge help when you got the mayor out there, stumping for you and talking about water. And so we've been promoting it ever since. And what's kind of neat about the whole program, it just brings a lot of awareness. It helps get people engaged and to participate and to make these pledges. And you can, get it out there to your community members. And then they can, when they go on and make the pledge, they can see the different ways that they can participate. And what's really nice about it, I think, is that Wyland has it well defined as far as a lot of different things that they can do. So a lot of different ways that you're saving water, not only by having xeriscape and instead of grass and those types of things, but just what your behaviors are, and even doing things like recycling. They kind of put all those different sustainability efforts into the potential for water savings. So it's just a fun way to get your community engaged in this whole idea. So we have our own programs. We have a lot of outreach that we do, and what's cool is this is just another way that people can see that they can make an effort. It makes it a little competitive, right? So it's a national challenge where the cities and they put us in different categories of population. So for our population category, which was I think it was like the 400 to 600,000 population is. That they pick winners out of those 5 population categories across the country. So we were very excited to win this year. This was big. Like I said, we started in 2014 and took us till 2025, but we did it.
You did it. You were doing well. Tara?
So,
and one of the go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say I'm actually kind of a mega fan. So I do public outreach. I'm the public outreach and external affairs manager for United Water Conservation District. So I've been looking at your videos forever, I feel like, especially the AZ plant lady, who in my brain is the crazy plant lady. So I was really enjoying the native plant talk, like all of that, because it's so important for people to understand that just because there's no lawn doesn't mean it can't be lush landscaping. And seeing the
Right.
beautiful stuff you guys have done has just been so inspiring. And I'm sorry, I'm totally geeking out right now, but I'm really excited about what you guys have been doing, and I'm totally impressed and completely unsurprised that you got the award you got.
We can ask Donna to send you an autograph.
I think I would actually love that. I would love that. Like, I want every major conservation campaign with the person who made it. Oh
no, Tara, I want to tell you, and you know this as an outreach person. When you have somebody that tells you, "Hey, I saw your stuff and I really loved it," that means so much. So I appreciate all your kind words, and it's so exciting that you did see those videos. And one of the things we try to do is get different perspectives, and so it's AZ Plant Lady is kind of an influencer, and she's out there talking about all these things, and she does it in her own very personal way. I have an understanding that we're very governmenty, right? And so it's really fun to get other people to help you with your message. The other set of videos that we did was to work with our it's called the East Valley Institute of Technology, and it's a trade school, and they had a plumbing class training that they do, and so we got the instructor and his students to help with plumbing tips, and so that was another fun way to get the message out there.
So what inspires you? Where do you go, oh, yeah, this morning I'm going to wake up and go, plumbers, that's the ticket. What makes you think that? It's
so funny how that ended up coming about. Everybody knows that videos do get people's attention, and, it's better. I tend to be a photographer. I love taking pictures, but the photos never perform as well on social as videos do. So, we knew we wanted to provide more videos, and it just so happens it's a funny story. My coworker, her son was friends with one of the students in the class, and he talked about what was really cool. The friend was talking to my coworker's son about how they look at videos to see what people are doing wrong when they're doing plumbing. And so that's kind of how it got to us that, well, why don't we do some videos of how to do it right? Because that's how the teacher was teaching the kids, was to show videos of how, no, that's not the right way to make a plumbing repair, and this is what you should be doing, and so forth. So it was a fun way to get them involved, and just really cute with seeing the students, and it was real. We just worked with our Channel 11, our city channel, the staff at the city here did the videos, and just kept it kind of raw and simple. So nothing that was too polished, Well,
I feel like authenticity is what really drives attention these days. The polish of the kind of late 2000s has kind of gone by the wayside, because people are so hungry to truly connect in a way that's real and substantive. So I really loved how it kind of all worked together. Anyways, I know I'm monopolizing the conversation, so I'll let Robert pipe in just a moment. I know he cares about irrigation way too much to stay silent for this entire conservation conversation.
We could talk outreach all night. So
I know, we absolutely could.
Well, that's good.
It's important.
I have no problem with that. But you're right. You're right about the videos and things. We have a sponsor that makes PVC cement glue, basically, and people think, when you see them putting two pipes together or a connector onto the pipe, how they swab the thing on and what they do. There's a class to become certified in how to do that, and IAPMO has a process for that. And I went through the course with Chris Davey, and it was amazed. In fact, we used it on the show twice. We did a two segment show with that live video. And it was incredible about how much you really need to know about prepping the PVC pipe, how you should swab it, what should you do, what kind of cement should you use, do you use the red hot? It was amazing. Because people think, oh, you just put it together. Well, you stick it in. You got to make a little twist at the end of that. Most people don't know that, and I think it's really important for education. And it goes back to
and instead of trying to explain it, a video can just do it very quickly and easily, though, too. So.
Well, look at things that break in your home. If you're a piece of rubber gasket in your washing machine breaks or this and that, you can go online and it shows you how to fix it, so you don't have to spend $200 for some guy to come in and do that. But the outreach is important. You've done a lot with water education for schools, correct?
Yes, we have. We've had some. Got really lucky on a couple fronts. One is that we have just one school district in the city, which makes it much easier to access the science coordinators and all that, and to actually help them adopt some curriculum. And so, for example, City of Phoenix, they just have a ton of school districts. So if they want to work with the schools, they have to reach out to each one. So we were really lucky, since about the 80s. So we were able to connect with the schools and put in water curriculum that was related to what's going on here in Arizona, and so really getting that information to the students. And then we also did a fun contract that we've had for years called Zoner and Drip. It's a puppet show, so it's a puppet show that we offer to the first and fourth grade students. And
a puppet show! I love that! A puppet show! So cute!
Zoner and Drip are the main characters, and they just talk about water in Arizona. They talk about water quality, and so it's a great way not only to educate the kids, but also to show them this art form of the puppetry. So it's a really neat program as well.
So tell me more about Zoner and Drip. Like, do they have their own show? Well, the water zone. Hello, we're the water zoners over here.
That's right.
That's right. And it's so funny. The zoner is this, and just the character that they created. And I think it was kind of like the Arizona, but sort of the zone too. But he's just this big-headed, goofy-looking character with bright red hair. But he's got his sidekick Drip, and so they just talk back and forth. And but yeah, it's really well done. We have this Arizona Puppet Theater that's in Phoenix, and they have headed this up for us. It makes it very seamless for us. We have the school connect directly with them and set these up for the classrooms. So,
how do you identify the curriculum? Like, how do you put together the curriculum for that? Like, do you guys build it? Do Zone and Drip and Co. put it together? How does that work so that it matches with what you're trying to do?
We do need to work with the science standards, and so it's a combination of working from our staff with the science coordinators at the Mesa Public Schools, and just making sure that they're getting the standards that they're required to be teaching, and then also that we can customize and personalize it. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. We also, just to get off that a little bit, we also have a character through our Water Use It Wisely campaign, and that is Wayne Drop. So Rob got to meet Wayne.
Yes.
At the Violence Celebration.
I have a picture of Wayne.
I feel like I could not say his name 3 times fast. I feel like I would fail that challenge right here, right now.
I always say, it's not Raindrop, it's Wayne Drop.
Wayne Drop.
Get that right, yes. So he's a lot of fun, full-size water drop, and he's the mascot for the Water Use It Wisely campaign. And I'll just give you a little background on that, too. That's something that did start here in Mesa in 1999. We wanted to do more outreach, and so we finally kind of bit the bullet and decided, let's hire an actual advertising company, marketing firm. That was something that the cities, our budgets are small, so it was expensive for us, but it was like I said, 1999, the drought was really getting serious then, if you can believe it. Here we are 25 years later, it's still serious.
Yep.
But so we knew we wanted to do more outreach to the public, and that's how we got the campaign started. But because the drought was getting very serious in Arizona at that time, we opened it up to other partners. Phoenix and Scottsdale joined in right away, and then we just made it a regional partnership. So today we have 22 partners throughout the state of Arizona.
Wow.
Most of us are in the Phoenix metropolitan area, but we also have Tucson has joined, as well as Yuma and Prescott Valley. So it's just a great way that we can pool our funding and really put on some good programming and of course just the media and getting the messaging out there.
I think.
So,
go ahead.
Your turn. I said my touch.
No, I love listening to you guys. You guys are great. I'll be on the show again. How about next week, though? But so the outreach things I find are very important because people, once they start hearing about things like that and then listen, gee, I didn't know that. And it's like, for me doing the shows, I mean, my background's electronics and physics. That's, I do that. I understand about hydraulics, but not like Chris Davey, who is an expert at that. I mean, so we kind of complemented each other on that kind of stuff. But what was interesting, talking to different people on the show, I've learned a lot of different things that you don't hear about. And I think it's great that you're doing the outreach and such. I know we've been lucky enough on the show that we've won from the EPA 10 years in a row for education and outreach, and we feel very blessed by that. And people really get in tune, and then they understand. Because a lot of people don't know a lot of things about irrigation or water, or even what Wyland does when we go around with his truck, this little museum where they have a movie theater. Did they ever bring that to Mesa?
I did. That first year in 2014, they came out with their mobile lab. It was fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's amazing. The kids come in and learn how water flows and where it comes from and how you can divert it and all. It's magic to the kids and the adults. We brought it to a couple of big trade shows, and we did one for the AWWA, and that exhibit had more people going through it than anybody else's booth. and they learned a lot, even though it was geared for up to from second grade through high school. Adults loved it, and that's an important factor, and that helps.
I agree, Rob. That's such a great point. I've always said I think you always need to make education interesting and fun and interactive. I don't care what age you are, and so I agree with you there.
Exactly. You do a Mesa water calendar that you put out, and there's lots of publications that people can download from your thing on how to troubleshoot and fix irrigation and such. What is that? I believe the water calendar tells people how to understand their water budget and calculate water. Is that a truism? Did I read that correctly?
We do have, we've got a couple different options on that. So we do have a home water calculator. Is that what you're
yes
thinking of? And that's one of the things that people can go on and give us an idea of the age of their home, because the age of the home will determine if they have possibly older toilets and that kind of thing. They tell us the age, so they tell us that. They tell us how many people are in the household. Then they can go on and actually measure the landscape and or pool area and those kinds of things, and it'll give them what would be an expected water budget for that particular situation. So, I think that is such a huge challenge, not only for homeowners, but as we know, you guys have worked a lot with HOAs, these commercial properties that have no idea what their water usage should be. And so they just pay the bills, and they just decide, well, that's what my budget is what I paid last year. Well, that's not the case. And what we're trying to help them understand is, depending on what their landscape is, they should only be using so much water. So if we can give them that calculation, and we use, University of Arizona scientific values and understanding of evapotranspiration rates and all of that, science of it, and we can estimate how much water they should be using for the different times of year. It's going to be different every month because of the seasonal changes with weather.
Right.
And we can tell them this is what your water use should be, and then they can compare it with what their water bills are and really see if they're on track or not.
Is there a way? I think you have smart meters in Arizona. And,
we're getting them installed now. Yes, it's being implemented now, and it's what we don't have really online just yet, and we're hoping to do that very soon. Is an interactive interface, that the customer can really see what's going on. So those are incredibly valuable tools to help people understand where their water's going.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that question. People, they don't know how much water they use until they see the bill. Unlike when you go to the gas station and buy gas, you're standing there with the pump and you can see it ticking away, and you know exactly right now what it's going to be. Versus water, where all of a sudden they open the bill and go, "Yikes! I didn't realize I spent that much money on water." But that's a good thing. You're moving in the right way.
Right. I love her Grass to Zeroscape program, and I'm actually wondering the success rate of that. I know I'm interrupting your water conversation over there, but anyways, I would love to know how successful that's been, and if you're starting to actually see a percentage drop on average outdoor water use. I know it used to be 70%, which is pretty typical for outdoor water use. Are you seeing that percentage drop a little bit?
We're definitely seeing overall water reductions, and we do feel that can be attributed to more xeriscape installations, more understanding of maintaining their water usage outside of how much they're using in the landscape. So we've been, we're doing pretty well with the program. We've increased, when I was overseeing it, I have a coworker doing that now, but we gave $500 back for removing at least 500 square feet of grass and then replacing it with desert landscaping. It's now up to $2,100 that a residential customer can get back, and it's up to $50,000 for a commercial customer, these HOAs. So we're really providing much bigger incentives. A lot of that discussion you had early on the show with Chris is a lot of reason behind that. We need to provide more incentives and get some of that grass removed because we know we can cut the water use at least in half in the landscape. So we don't want, we don't want just rocks and cactus, right? For our program, we do require that they put plants back in place. We don't allow just artificial turf. We don't allow just rock. They have to have a certain percentage of plants to go back in. That plant. We don't want to trade off one environmental issue for another.
Exactly. You don't want a heat island. You want those lush plants providing the shade and the moisture in the air and all that stuff. So I love that you guys provide the information. So again, tell us where they can find this information because I know we're coming up on the end of our discussion, and I know we're going to ask you one more question.
So mesaaz.gov is our City of Mesa site, mesaaz.gov. You can find all the information about our residential, commercial, the calculator, and everything else. But I do want to give a shout out to wateruseitwisely.com, and we have just made a very robust site on low water use plants. And the big thing on there that I'm working right now is our landscape watering by the numbers guide. We have an online version, but I also have the booklet online as a PDF, and you can look at that. But I'm working on updating that right now. I just turned in some more edits for that book, and so we're very excited about just getting good information out to the public about how to water properly. We know that, saving water indoors with a low-flow toilet or something, it's kind of great because it's a no-brainer, but outdoors we still need to rely on knowledge and really managing that water properly.
All right, we're about the end of the show. We have to turn it over to our big brother, NBC, otherwise they'll squish us. And we have to do what they tell us anyway. Donna, it was a pleasure having you on the show. I want to keep in touch with you some more since I'm local with you. And maybe we can partner up and do some projects together. That would be great.
I'd love that. I would love that. So you guys are doing great stuff, and I appreciate it. And it sounds like Tara and I need to have like our own little session, if that's okay.
Yes, you do. So much. Girls night out. All right.
And I
You have a
love
great
the
day.
Women of Water, the WOW. Thank you for that,
Yeah,
too.
you're very welcome. All right, thank you very much, and you have a good week.
Thank you. You as well.
And
Good
to
night.
our listeners, what we always say is, if you like green, you got to keep the loop going. So remember that, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for joining.
NBC News on KCAA